Welcome, Noob Master, to Geek Salad Retro Movie Reviews from the Geek Salad Podcast. I'm Andy.
And I'm Mike.
And tonight we are kind of correcting course on something that we started in 2019. Actually, we started it all the way back in 2018 when we decided that we were going to do a road to Infinity War. That is ostensibly from Iron Man all the way to Avengers Infinity War. And then a little forward into Captain Marvel, which I think was the last in this line of succession was the last one we did. With one exception, when we did Eternals with Derek and Laurel from the Midnight Myth a while ago. Very, very long time ago. I don't remember the last. I gotta take a look to see when the last time they put an episode out was, because it has been a while.
I know.
I've heard anything from them.
I believe last I heard that. First off, apologies. I am getting over a really bad cold, and my voice is just not there yet. I'm definitely sounding better though. I no longer sound like the love child of Barry White and Harvey Firestein. But I believe last I heard, Laurel got pregnant again.
Yep. And
then my guess is they could just completely run out of time to do anything.
Probably. That sounds about right. They're also, I know that Laurel is still doing her podcast.
Yeah.
So we miss you guys. So if you're still watching, look us up. We're on Blue Sky now. But so anyway, back to what I was saying. So after Captain Marvel, my assumption was we were going to continue as the movies came out. I don't know what happened, because 2019 gave us this and Spider-Man Far From Home. Yeah. And then COVID hit.
Yeah.
We had to wait like an extra 2 years before we got Black Widow. So we are righting that wrong tonight by talking about Avengers Endgame. Right. So sorry we are super late to the party on reviewing this movie, but I feel like with 6 years having passed now, it's an interesting watch, considering that now we can put the historical significance into this, both in terms of cinematically, what it did for us at the time, how it made us feel afterwards, especially during COVID, and then now with everything in regards to the MCU. So first of all, this movie still holds the fuck up. It really, truly does. In terms of epic filmmaking, I truly believe that this is epic filmmaking. 3 hours long. You got to wonder where the cut is if this were being released on VHS, because that would have been 2 tapes. Yeah. It's one of those movies that, while it does seem to have 3 acts, it's a well-used 3 hours. There's not a lot of lag time for this movie. There's not a lot of dead weight in this movie, if you will.
Yeah, and all 3 acts, they all have a very different feel about them.
Yeah.
But they still combine very nicely to tell one very fantastic story, but each one has a very different tone, very different aesthetic to the others.
Right. And one thing that I appreciate is that they were able to still give us that signature Marvel humor in a very serious story. There is weightiness abounds on here, and there are probably psychological profiles done on each and every one of these characters.
And not only that, but Endgame also serves as a conclusion to arcs and threads that have been started like all the way back in like Iron Man and Captain Avenger, stuff like that we started like 4 or 5 years prior. They finally come full circle. So that makes this movie even better.
Exactly. I agree. It definitely has held up. And looking at things I never really noticed before. There was one thing that really stuck out to me, And I've seen this movie several times since we
Yeah.
saw it in the theater night before opening night.
Yeah.
There's that scene at the very beginning when they're going to confront Thanos about the Infinity Stones. And as they are going through the wormhole, they focus on Steve's eyes and just like the stars flashing through that. And I was like, it never really occurred to me, but it's like, can you think of that? The significance of somebody who was born in the 1920s, who is now he is in space. He is in deep space.
Not only that, but that is the very first time he's ever actually left Earth.
Yeah. Do you remember that? Like there was that whole thing. Okay. Who's here's been to space before? And only a couple of them raised their hands, which is funny because in the Marvel comics, they almost always are in space.
Yeah.
I remember this one line She-Hulk had when she was invited to the wedding of Black Bolt and Medusa on the blue area of the moon. And she's like, I've been to the moon twice, but I've never been to Paris. So it's that significance, the trauma, the overall lingering trauma that Thor has.
Yeah.
That he has taken upon himself to blame himself for all of this.
And that's what makes his scene with Frigga, Rene Russo, makes it both funny in how they play it, but also incredibly touching because this is him reconnecting with one of the mother he's lost.
Yeah.
And actually having a chance to finally unload some of that guilt and some of those emotions that he's been holding in for 5-6 years now.
Yeah. No, it's heartbreaking. And I mean, you could see the start of that at the very beginning.
Oh yeah.
When he's just eating rolls and drinking beer. So he's at that stage where he's eating his feelings.
Yeah.
And it's significant because there are that scene when they're deciding who is going to do the snap, and he's begging to do it, to make things right. And it's incredible how that works. Tony is shell-shocked. I mean, here's a guy who was shell-shocked originally from being held captive and how it created Iron Man. And now he's shell-shocked again because, Peter just vanished to realize he's worthy as his hammer, even though he had depression. It does, Kevin. It's really hard because, again, we are talking about present-day Thor. Who finds that he's still worthy to wield Mjolnir.
The look of relief and like just joy on his hand when the hammer actually comes to him.
Yeah.
It's like because he genuinely did not think he was worthy anymore.
Right. And it's really well acted. Clint.
Dude, yeah. I mean, not only Clint in Japan, but also the scene on Vermeer.
Yes. That was tough to take. Do you remember when we saw it in the theater and they open on his farm and I'm like, no!
Yeah. And then he just turns around and there's no one there.
They're gone. They're all gone. And he takes his anguish out on the Yakuza amongst many.
Yeah.
But yeah, having that fight with him and Nat to decide who gets to die.
Yeah.
That is just, it's crazy. It is also interesting too because he does get a continuation story. Not a lot of these characters get continuation stories of the original group outside of Bruce, Clint, and Thor.
And I gotta say, I know some people had mixed feelings about it. I loved Hawkeye, the series.
I thought it was fantastic.
Yeah,
it was one of those things I kind of was like mid on initially, like my thoughts, and I always thought Jeremy Renner was going to make a great Hawkeye. I was excited. I loved what he did, especially in Age of Ultron.
Yeah,
he really stands out in Age of Ultron. But yeah, no, when Hawkeye came out, I'm like, this is fantastic.
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot of, and I will talk about that a little later. Oh, you'll know what I'm talking about when I talk about it.
Okay.
I mean, just seriously, everything about this movie is just all about trying to fix what they broke. That's what this movie is about. The Avengers need to fix what they broke.
Yeah. And I also I remember I actually just fairly recently read a kind of an interview with one of the Russos. And I guess someone asked them why Captain Marvel wasn't in the movie more, because she would have really helped things. And they were like, this wasn't her movie. This was the movie wrapping things up of the core six.
Yes.
This was their story to finish.
But they gave a great explanation for that too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Other worlds don't have you.
Yeah. And I'm not gonna lie, during the final battle, when the guns all stop, and like Tony's like, it's like something just entered the upper atmosphere, and all the guns just turn up and start firing. You're like,
yeah.
I'm like, oh yeah. And she just goes right through the ship.
That's the thing, is that when she is on screen, she dominates.
Yeah.
And it worked out well.
When Thanos gives her the headbutt and she doesn't even react.
Right, exactly. He needs to take the Power Stone and punch her with it.
Yeah.
It was the pacing of this movie is just, it's fantastic. The moments of this movie, we talked about Captain Marvel. First of all, there's that great bit of, hi, I'm Peter. Hi, Peter Parker. The fact that all of the women in the MCU were there.
Yeah.
Great scene.
I love that scene. I love that scene so much.
Yeah. And as we're in the theater, we're watching this movie, and let's be honest, we didn't know that in less than a year, the entire world was going to change. And going back and watching those two scenes, Cap gets the hammer.
Oh yeah, dude. I've mentioned before, I love reaction videos. There are a couple of compilation videos of just people reacting to that scene.
Yeah.
And just watching those again just reminds me how I felt in theaters when I saw that.
Do you remember everybody?
Yeah.
Everybody. We were there.
Yeah.
First time people are seeing this.
You had to hint back at Age of Ultron that he was worthy.
Right.
And that makes you realize in that scene, he was actually like, he literally stopped himself because he like, oh, I can lift this. Oh, wait, no, I don't want to make it look bad.
But then the scene. Portals open on your left. Everybody is back. This is my favorite reaction video. I might get a little teary because it is still to this day, and the fact that we were in the middle of it was Avengers Assemble.
The first time he's actually been able to, and you know what? I know he was annoyed that he couldn't say it in Avengers Age of Ultron.
So glad they held off.
Yeah, holding it for this one made the whole thing worthwhile.
Oh God, our theater exploded.
Yeah.
It really, truly exploded. Yeah. It was, and fast forward 1 year. That's what we needed. We needed that. We needed to have that moment that bound everybody, hundreds of people in a theater, a dark theater together, to watch this. Not only watch this 3-hour movie that no bathroom breaks here. Sean, sit your ass down. You missed the big surprise in Spider-Man. It was incredible. And then to cap this movie off with essentially a curtain call.
Yeah.
For the original 6.
Yeah, I mean, there's only been one other movie that I've seen where that ends with signatures of all the main cast, and that was Star Trek 6.
That's right, because that was their last movie, and then Shatner was like, I can do another. Yeah, and even that wasn't as epic as what they
No.
did with the shots, with the signature, and just
Yeah.
scenes from 11 years of movies.
Yeah. What's also kind of sad though is that also almost exactly 1 year after this movie came out, we lost Chadwick Boseman.
Yeah, yeah. He died in the fall of
He died
2020.
in
So
August of 2020.
August, yeah.
And this one came out in
So
April of 2019.
yeah. So it was good to see him back in
Yeah.
this one. It's like you wish you had more.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Every
Yeah.
time he's on screen, I'm just like, we lost him way too soon.
Exactly. And going back and watching Black Panther, watching Civil War,
Yeah.
just such amazing
He
presence in
steals the
it.
show. He steals the show in Civil War. He
He
really
does. He absolutely does. And that's a movie that reintroduced us to Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Yeah. Overall, in terms of the quality of this movie, it's hard to beat this movie.
Yeah.
It's also hard to rank this movie too because I feel like it goes so extra.
Yeah.
It's like comparing the original Star Wars, like A New Hope, to all the other Star Wars movies.
Yeah.
It's kind of like that. I mean, as much as I love Endgame, it's that prevents that from being my favorite MCU movie. It's just like, it's kind of got an unfair advantage,
Yeah, you really can't count it because it's like, well, yeah, what's going to top this?
It runs almost 45 minutes longer than any individual Marvel movie, not including Infinity War. And it's just it's jam-packed. It was also the number one movie in the world for almost a year until Cameron's like, I'm gonna re-release Avatar because you're an asshole.
$2.8 billion. I mean, yeah, the budget was $400 million, but guess what? This made it back.
Oh yeah, it made it back. It made it back. This is it was incredible.
Yeah.
Now see those folks though that are say, well, it should have, the MCU should have ended at Endgame, and it's like that story ended. This is Marvel. Marvel doesn't just do one story. It's not.
Marvel's been telling multiple stories since 1962.
Yeah.
63.
Exactly.
Somewhere around there.
And well, we can debate the benefit of trying to do a multiverse that just seems like they're making it up as they go along. There are still some enjoyable movies in there.
Yeah.
The show output since the television output of the MCU since Endgame has honestly been more hits than misses. There are honestly very few genuine misses in here. Secret Invasion is boring.
I still haven't watched Secret Invasion.
Okay.
For me, it's like, what if? But that's just because so many of those episodes end on a downer, and I've never been big on downers.
Right, and that's what if is though. What if is a series of downers.
Yeah.
I mean, the aftermath of Endgame having WandaVision.
Yeah.
Falcon and the Winter Soldier, where Sam has to accept that he was chosen to be Captain America.
Yeah.
I still haven't seen Brave New World yet. I don't know when the hell.
It's a fun movie. It's a fun movie.
I want to go see it. I don't know when the hell I'm going to do it. Maybe I'll do it.
Yeah.
Christ, I do have a half day next week. I might just do it then. I don't know. Marvel shouldn't have ended. They should have just taken a page from Godzilla, taken a break, just low stakes TV shows, which has a lot of hits. Yeah, and I think that they were doing that for a while. I mean, it's just that when you see their cinematic output, it has definitely slowed. The pandemic notwithstanding.
The only movie that they put out last year was Wolverine Deadpool, I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's technically MCU, technically not.
It's a weird one.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they do allude more to the Fox universe than they do the MCU.
Yeah.
2023 was an interesting, like, Quantumania, which is fine, but it's forgettable.
I still haven't seen that one too.
Guardians of the Galaxy 3, which might be the best Guardians of the Galaxy movie ever. I mean, I watched that movie, and watching Bradley Cooper voice Rocket and being like, well, I think they just need to give him the Oscar for Bernstein because, or the Maestro, because of his role as Rocket. Even the Marvels is actually a lot of fun. Obviously slept on because girl. There are a lot of really good things coming out. I enjoyed Doctor Strange. I enjoyed Spider-Man. There's a lot there that I've really enjoyed watching. I like Love and Thunder.
I enjoyed Love and Thunder as well.
I understand though. Marvel's too jokey. What was Ragnarok then? It has the same basic tone as Ragnarok.
And let's face it, Chris Hemsworth, he's got fantastic comic chops.
He does. He absolutely does. I quite honestly love seeing some of these shows.
Yeah.
But even the shows that have been coming out, She-Hulk. I'll be honest, She-Hulk is the best MCU show they've ever done.
You know what? I don't know. I'm a sucker for Miss Marvel.
Ms. Marvel was excellent.
Yeah.
I just feel like She-Hulk had a very hard assignment that it aced.
Yeah.
It got the joke. It was in on the joke the entire time. Moon Knight. I really like Moon Knight.
I love Moon Knight.
Yeah. And now, I had to remind myself Echo was a thing. And Echo's a weird one because it fits oddly between like Hawkeye and Born Again. Daredevil Born Again. They do kind of allude to it though. Agatha All Along, by the way, awesome.
Huh, nice.
It is very good. Daredevil Born Again, I'm 3 episodes in right now, and it is exactly what you needed this Daredevil series to be.
Yeah, I'm kind of I want to let more, if not all of the episodes get in the can because I don't want to have to like end on a cliffhanger and then
have to wait, like I do.
Yeah.
On a weekly basis.
Yeah, well, I like binges.
Yeah. I mean Loki even. I mean these are all shows that had roots in Endgame. I mean Loki begins with his exit from Endgame.
Yeah.
And that show turned out to be fantastic. Both seasons of it. Kevin,
I'm not gonna lie. Since Endgame, I have kind of eased up a bit on my MCU watching.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still very interested and invested in the series, but I just haven't. I kind of fallen by the wayside with some of the movies.
Yeah,
I still haven't seen the Marvels, and I really want to see the Marvels.
Yeah, I've seen them all, with the exception of Brave New World, which, like I said, maybe Tuesday. I take Tuesday off. Maybe let's go see it then. I have seen them all, and I feel like after you hit a grand slam like Endgame, you have license to do stuff for fun, to experiment. In no universe realistically that wasn't run by Kevin Feige does Shang-Chi, Master of Kung Fu, become such a hit.
Really good movie too.
Excellent movie. I love that one. It might be one of my favorite newer ones. I mean, I know everyone's mileage may vary on the Eternals. I really love the Eternals. I felt like it was the first time they were allowed to be like actually do art house.
Yeah.
Within the MCU. And it's easy that you can have like these minor league movies on top of things like Doctor Strange. I don't forget, Multiverse of Madness all came so close to grossing $1 billion.
And it was very. I mean, they gave it to Sam Raimi for a reason.
Yeah,
It felt
Well,
like
they needed snap
movie.
zooms in the movie. That's why.
Yeah.
And overall, I just, that and Spider-Man,
Yeah.
No Way Home is just, it was, there are things about it now. I go back and I kind of parse a little more that are, it's like the most fan servicey of all the post Endgame movies.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
overall, I mean, Endgame was, if it were to have ended, great way to go out.
Yeah.
I feel like it definitely closed the door on all the Phase 1 stuff and the Phase 2 stuff. It's weird because it's almost like Phase 1 is only a couple of movies.
But yeah, I mean, for all the people that say that it should have ended after Endgame, it's called show business.
Yep.
And the movie made $2.8 billion. They're not going to close the door on that.
Exactly. And look at some of these movies that, Deadpool and Wolverine made over $1 billion. Spider-Man No Way Home made over $1 billion. Both Multiverse of Madness and Guardians of the Galaxy 3 almost, and they came close.
Yeah.
I don't get how Guardians of the Galaxy movie hasn't grossed $1 billion yet. I truly don't, especially that third one. It was a huge hit.
Yeah.
I guess it's just when it comes out and when it's that sweet spot in May. That's the thing for like the standalones.
Yeah.
But overall, and I want to wrap this up because you're dying here, man.
Just a little bit.
Overall, Endgame is it's fantastic. That Alan Silvestri's score just stays with you, even though a lot of it is simply just reprises of Avengers scores.
Which not a bad thing.
Yeah,
his Avengers score is fantastic.
Right, and to see also the fact that they were able to get Favreau involved in the production end of things and Gunn involved in the production end of things really helped, especially for characters that they helped get off the ground, especially Guardians, because realistically, in no universe should Guardians of the Galaxy work with this other group, but they made it work. And I think I mentioned this before when we talked about Infinity War, how weird it was seeing them in a larger Avengers story. It was almost like, back in the day when you had a favorite comic book artist who was also the writer, and you saw their characters only in their works, and then there's a crossover. Kind of like, Art Adams with Longshot, or actually even Seth MacFarlane. Todd McFarlane. Sorry, Seth MacFarlane's the Ted guy. Todd McFarlane's Venom. Seeing Venom for the first time outside of a Spider-Man book drawn by Todd McFarlane was weird. Yeah. So having that whole thing with the Guardians, overall, I think it worked perfectly. I think this movie is just, it's one of those movies I love coming back to because even for 3 hours, it's a comfort film. It's like honestly, it's like Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
It's a comfort film.
Yeah. No, and just having more time with these characters, the character we've known ever since 2008, and just seeing we saw in Avengers, Cap said to Iron Man, Cap said to Tony, "You're not one to make the big sacrifice," and Tony said to Cap, like, I can't remember exactly, but basically what they both said to each other is kind of exactly the opposite of what happens at the end of this one.
Right.
Tony makes the big sacrifice, and Cap decides to, you know what? I've earned my happy ending.
Yep. And he did. And again, great way of ending it. Not with a cliffhanger, but from a scene from the past.
Yeah. They finally get their dance.
So, yeah. Love it. So, we're interested now because I got to send this guy off to get some rest and drink some herbal tea and
yeah.
Did you find the liquid IV like I had recommended?
No, but I've got Dole. So
Fantastic. Okay, cool. If it lasts longer than another week, go see a doctor, please. I'm doing this now to be on record that I told you if this happens for another week, go to the doctor, because that's what happened to me. Anyway, we want to know, what are your thoughts on Endgame? Is this a movie that is, in terms of movie going, a historically significant event for you? Because I truly, truly feel like this was a historical significant movie to me. Doing your first musical to sing louder. Honestly, if I was going to recommend anything, I would actually have her sing in a large enough room and stand all the way back. And just tell her, when I need you to be louder, I'm going to do this. And then I'll give you a thumbs up when you're done. That's my recommendation. Because I would stay, if you have a theater available, then absolutely have her stand on the stage. Go to the back of the theater.
Or, gym, auditorium, whatever.
Yep, exactly. 5-year-olds aren't known for their projection. My kids both don't project. They also don't know how to stand properly on stage. I have been teaching them how to work outward. They don't listen to me. Me, who have directed many a theatrical outing, and been on stage a lot. So it's the best advice I can give you, Kevin.
As has their mother.
Yes. That's how we met. Anyway, we want to know what your thoughts are on Endgame. Where does this stand also in your list of the MCU in terms of, is this a top 5, top 3? You don't have to rank it completely, but just somewhere in the realm. So check that out. Also, we do have a playlist of all of our MCU movies on YouTube. You can go find that. If you're newish to the channel, you can go find that, see what we looked like 6 years ago. Things have changed a little bit, but yeah, we'd love to know your thoughts on that. Also, if you're new to the channel, thank you for joining us. I know we're a little late on Endgame, but hey, isn't it nice to get a response on that? So yeah, please give us that subscribe, hit the like button, because that's what we're about. It helps us in the algorithm. If you want to follow us on the socials, we are on Facebook at Geek Salad Podcast, and on Blue Sky at geeksalladradio.bluesky.social, whatever it is. Just look for Geek Salad and you'll find us there. Also, Mike and I host a little podcast called Geek Salad. You can check that out wherever you get your podcast. Our current episode, The Music of 1995, Side 1, will be released at midnight tonight. If you are watching us live Thursday, March 13th, it will premiere at midnight tonight, so you can check that out. And in a week to 10 days, you will get part 2, which is substantially longer.
Oh, so, yeah, by the way, seeing Peter Quill singing Red Bones Come and Get Your Love, yeah, without actually hearing it, just hearing it.
Just having him sing, it was great.
Yeah.
Overall, great movie. There were so many performances we did not talk about in this movie, including Karen Gillan's.
Oh, yeah. Having to play both evil and good Gamora, Nebula, seeing how far she's
gone. Loved it, yeah. So, anyway, go watch the movie again. It's on Disney+. And, yeah. Until next time, I'm Andy.
I'm Mike.
Go forth and be nerdful. We'll talk to you later.
Bye.